Carrie Beck with HowToHomeschoolMyChild.com, and I hope you're having a great day. If you're looking at this video, you're probably interested in science and writing. Writing across the curriculum, trying to tie two subjects together to save yourself some time and energy so that you're not writing different lesson plans for different subjects. Plus, you know, we know that if we write about a subject, you're going to learn more about that subject. And so today what I want to do is talk to you about life-based writing lessons, or life science-based writing lessons. I said it a little bit wrong. This is by Danielle Olander and Peter Sweat. What I found very interesting about them, this is a father-daughter team. Danielle's a homeschool teacher who has been teaching writing lessons for years. Her dad, Peter, is a scientist, and he has been teaching science. Actually, he's been teaching homeschool science classes for a while. As they wrote this book, they realized that writers and scientists really do think differently. All right, Danielle tells a story that when she had to go sub for one of her dad's classes, she says, I can whip out a whiteboard on writing techniques like that. But genetics, oh my gosh, that took a whole lot of other thinking. So we do have different sides of our brain that work together. What I like about this is it's bringing both types of people together so that they learn both activities. This is based on teaching writing structure and style. What I think IEW's best product they've ever put, it's their foundational product. If you choose to get this, you'll get a page on the front, and that is going to give you a free copy of our student resource notebook that your student can keep that notebook and insert their assignments along the way. Now, I'm not going to read all the table of contents, but you really are going to cover a lot of life science topics. We've got classification, DNA, cells, fungus, botany, and then we have zoology and cell division and invertebrates and vertebrates, and how to write up an experiment. And that, just saying that, when my kids were homeschooling, they had graduated and they still continue to use IEW techniques and strategies. But when we were doing experiments, we used IEW strategies to write our experiment review. What did we do? And we came up with a way to set that up using our IEW strategies. So they go into some of that as well. But we conclude with several different essays. There's a persuasive essay in here, a scientific essay. There's an internet research workshop. You're also going to be taught a little bit about Mla documentation. So what that means is this is not life science for an 8-year-old. This is really life science on an upper junior high school level, because they are covering topics that high schoolers would cover in a regular biology class, and they are learning to write papers like a persuasive essay using Mla documentation. That is a high school level writing. And then how to format that, how to make a good presentation, and documenting the documentaries, using documentaries. Let me just flip to one of these lessons. And we have lesson 6. This is all about Robert Hooke discovering cells. This is how it's written. Oh, and by the way, before I get started, let me just tell you that Danielle and her dad, Peter, are Christians. They do believe in creation. They believe in 6-day young earth creation. If you're reading the section in the introduction to the student, she says that straight out, says, we make no bones about it. That is the perspective that this book is coming from. Having said that, lesson 6 is about cells and Robert Hooke discovering it. Here are the objectives. Here is the model, the narrative stories, and the story sequence chart. This is written as if she were teaching the class. So if a student's reading it, they're reading it as if a teacher's talking to them. Now, a teacher can use it to teach a class on this, which would be very easy for a first-year IEW teacher to use this. A student could just be handed the book and use it to learn. I would recommend, hopefully, a mom coming alongside, because I think writing is one of those subjects that a student needs a little bit of guidance and a little bit of help. All right? It's not something you can just say, here, go figure this out on your own. You can do that, but I don't think you get the best results. There are little excerpts right in here that say to the teacher, and it tells them extra things that you could do if you were teaching the class. Here is your continuation of teaching it, and there's little boxes like this. This is a whiteboard. This is a sample whiteboard for this assignment. Here's an example of the narrative summary, And then we come over here, and every lesson has an assignment, 1, 2, 3. Here's this listed. Every assignment has a checklist, so a student knows what is expected. They need to do all of these things, and that is how many points they will get. Finally, there is a source text, meaning they don't have to go off. When they're writing a research paper, they will. But during the regular exercises, all the material is right here in the book. And then we finish that. And we've got our story sequence chart, which is just a generic one. And this is the outline, the basic format that a student uses to write a story. So they read this story and they use this outline to write their story about Robert Hooke discovering sales. And this continues on. I'm not going to read all of them, but they're all set up. Objective, a lesson written to the student or to a teacher that's going to do it. Whiteboards, extra helps for teachers that are actually teaching a class. And then the assignment and the checklist and the source text. So finally, we have our appendix. And in lesson 23, you have an activity about states, and there are a list of websites that you can use. Here are tips for teaching, and then these are rules for writing. 10 little rules that are just general rules that will help your students write well. Things like your first copy should never be your last. It can always be improved. Every piece of punctuation should be able to be justified by some sort of rule. And then we have a letter if you're teaching a co-op that you can send home to parents about what's expected in the assignments. We have a scope and sequence for all. It's actually a 30-week lesson. There are actually 9 lessons or 9 units for TWSS, and yet they take this particular topic, life science, and spread it over 1 year because you've got 6 or 7 weeks that you're going to work on a research paper. And then a final thing just about the authors a little bit more. If you're studying biology, this is a great tie-in. And you can go back and forth between your biology units and the writing lessons and have your kids writing about a topic that they're already learning about. And it'll do 2 things. It will make them a better writer because they're familiar with the subject area. It will also cement in their head what they're learning in biology. I would highly recommend this as a resource. Why come up with a bunch of other writing assignments when you're already studying biology? Just use this as a guide. And it's all written out for you. You don't have to do anything. You just go through this, follow the directions, and then help your kids improve their writing. If you're not sure, give me a call, email me. Like I said, I was a homeschool teacher for 10 years. Just like you, I was a homeschool teacher. And I depended on guides like this to help me get through some of our writing exercises. I'm Carrie Beck with howtohomeschoolmychild.com. If you're interested in this, go to the URL that's on this video and you can read more about it and grab your own copy. Remember, you always get free shipping with IEW on How to Homeschool My Child. Thank you very much.